Hello everyone and welcome to another Geometry Dash video, and in this video I'll be showing all of my old levels from 2016 to now. This video will be structured a little bit differently from my other videos, so I'll show you how it's structured right now on screen. And I do recommend people who haven't seen part 1 to pause this and read it. Also, I'll put in all the timestamps for the levels and a track list in the description along with the original songs. While the last video showed all my old levels, this will actually show me getting somewhere since we left off at 2.0 last time. Wobbly Tooth. I don't really remember much about me building this level except that I wanted to use a lot of the new grass blocks. It's pretty obvious I had no idea I was doing. I barely knew how to use the move and alpha triggers, and there were some parts that looked especially messy. I also find it hilarious how I made some of the monsters shoot spikes because the whole boss fight trend was a thing in early 2.0. Overall, it was a terrible level and even worse than I remembered. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Rocket Launcher. This was my first attempt at a Megacollab. There were about 4 people at my school who played GD, none of which were good creators, but apparently that wasn't an excuse to force them to build for me. Literally all I did was build my part, which took 10 minutes, and it wasn't passed on to anyone after that, and it still remains on the servers to this day. Megacollab Arcade. This was a second attempt to make a Megacollab. This time I wanted people to recreate one of their favorite games inside of Geometry Dash. Again, my part was super lazy, even compared to my older level, Living Minecraft, which was also Minecraft themed. Like last Megacollab, this wasn't even passed on to anyone, and the level got removed pretty quickly. Spooky Boss Fight. The story behind this is kind of a dark one. Basically, there was a guy at school who commented on my levels saying that they were terrible, and then when 2.0 came out, it allowed us to message each other, and it came to the point where he made threats towards me. He made a boss fight level, and I decided to one-up him by making a boss fight level. Now, we became friends later and even attempted to collab, which I'll show later. It wasn't even my idea to make a boss fight using the Vault Guardian. I think someone else told me about the idea. Looking back at this, it's hilarious how little I knew about the move trigger. I didn't even know what locked player X was on the move trigger, and I didn't have Don't Fade On, not to mention the really cringy cutscene at the end when I used the word epic unironically. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. One, 2, 3, 6, 9, 5, 5, 5, 0. This was gonna be a collab between 2 people at my school. One of them did part of a layout without any deco, and then I decided to make this part stupidly hard because I thought that was funny. Unfortunately, that killed the collab. Windfall Circles. This was the third and not the last 9 Circles level I made. There is another 9 Circles level, Windy Circles, that has the same song, but hey, this was easy downloads for me. Looking back at this, the beginning looks terrible, but the wave was actually kind of fun to play, but the end is still very buggy. Also, that rotating thing on the player doesn't go away. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. System 2. The first system was a level one of my friends made, so we were gonna collab for the sequel. I finished my part, but my friend lost motivation and dropped it. What I made was very similar to the original level, and like all my levels, it dropped in quality later on. It was just lazy building, not to mention the ripoff of Sirius at the end. Colorful Dynasty. In this level, I tried to focus more on design and color, and no, I didn't learn anything about color through making this level. This whole level is basically just one solid color at a time, no brightness changes or secondary color. I like to think that this level has better design than most of my other old levels, but it gets much messier later on. Like all of my old levels, I tried to make something too ambitious, and I didn't know how to execute it correctly. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Doominova. Unlike Colorful Dynasty, this level focused more on gameplay than it did design. I remember working on this late at night and just being so proud of myself. Looking at it now, I think it was a very messy level, although I think the beginning was fun to play and had good sync. Still, the second half's quality dropped immensely because I was out of ideas. This level was removed from the servers because it got no attention. Pneumatic Sunset. I don't really know what I was trying to make here. Although the sunset level trend was dead, I thought it was a good idea to build a sunset level. Again, I had no idea what I was doing here. A few of the objects looked okay, but overall it's a huge mess, and the last UFO makes me cringe looking at it again. Despite this level not getting attention when it was first released, this level still remains on the servers. Geometry Adventures. This was a level I made for Zobros' creator contest right before he quit the game. The rules were to make a demon level using only 1.6 blocks with the main level song. Definitely up my alley since I didn't know how to design. This level looks like a typical 1.6 level, there wasn't anything too special, and the winners made levels which were much more impressive looking and were actually fun to play. This level was removed on the servers anyway, so it's not like I even had a chance at winning. Ultimate level mix. There were a lot of level mixes in 1.9 which were basically mashups of all the Rob Top levels, so for this one, I thought it would be a good idea to make a level mix but actually decorate it. There isn't really much to say, I didn't add too much deco to anything, so I just quit about 45 seconds in. Demonic Meltdown. The concept of this level was to make a Meltdown style level but make it a demon. Obviously this didn't work too well because I didn't know how to make Meltdown style design, so I made this 20-second mess instead. Despite being unfinished, this level still remains on the servers. Science Rocket. Despite hating science, the idea of this level was to make a science themed level similar to Core Science by True Chaos. I came up with two good concepts and then quit the level. Still looking back at it, it's kind of cringe. MLG Circles. Oh god, do I really have to talk about this? If you don't know what MLG montage parodies were, they were these series of videos where people took a video and then added in a bunch of memes relevant to that time. It was comedy gold. And yes, I made this level when montage parodies were long dead. I didn't add any memes because I assumed I'd add them in after I made the level, but I never finished the level. There wasn't really anything much to say about this level, it was just another 9 Circles level with weird block choices. Broken Circles. So there was this guy who kept telling me that someone else in my school was way better at creating than me because he made a 9 Circles level that looked very similar to Silent Circles, and I got really mad at him, which sort of made me think this whole creating thing at my school was a competition. So to compete with him, I tried to make another 9 Circles level. I used multiple game modes and a background, but this level ended up being really messy and I forgot to use layers, so I just abandoned the level. Dancing Naked. I don't remember anything about this level. All I remember was making a model of the Fat Rat in his music video for Dancing Naked, and I never got to incorporate it because I gave up on this level very quickly. I was going to make a boss fight using the Fat Rat model, but it never happened. Spacewar. I'm honestly sad this was unfinished. Remember that guy who sent me threats through GD? Well, this was gonna be our collab level. Also, this was the first time I used the layout. At the beginning, I added in some cool effects similar to Ultra Drivers by Laser Blitz, and I was initially really hyped when building this. But I quickly ran out of ideas, and I think the reason for that was not being able to take inspiration from other levels, which I tried to do, but I didn't know what levels to look at. Biome Explorer. This was another level I started where I tried to make something atmospheric, but I clearly gave up because it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Additionally, I wanted this to be a collab which added pressure onto me. Not much else to say, I made a 15-second level and gave up. Here we go. This level will use the song Invincible by Defkev, which I absolutely love, and it's still a nostalgic song looking back at it. I remember when I found out I could use this in GD, I immediately started making the layout. Unfortunately, this was just a guy pretending to be Defkev who uploaded on Newgrounds, and now the song's been taken down. This level starts out good with interesting design and color combinations, and most of the level's block design is actually decent, but I still didn't understand color. All I had to do was darken the background. I don't really remember why I stopped working on this level. I guess I just didn't like how it was turning out. Velocity. I'd like to think this level is my turning point. Sure, this level and the levels preceding it weren't very good, but I would like to say that after this level I took creating more seriously. For this level I used a layout and built this on my phone. I would like to say that I understood creating a lot more from making this level. I focused on gameplay, but through this, I realized I had to spend a lot more time brainstorming and just designing in general. I also remember putting this on the GD forums where people can judge your levels. Someone put it under decent for the bad design, which made me mad because I couldn't accept criticism. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Phobic. This was the first level in which I actually thought about how I was going to execute the level ahead of time, and I was able to incorporate my ideas into this pretty well. They were not very good ideas, but I think this is a step up from Velocity. Some parts look really bland and others just look empty, such as the boss fight at the end. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it.
Error.
Step forth and be recognized.
Frequency. This was going to be a collab between someone at my school who was good at effects and myself. I was going to do the layout and the block design, and he was going to do the backgrounds since this was going to be a modernistic level, but he didn't really make much progress, so this remains unfinished. Still, I liked most of the gameplay, although it was kind of confusing. Jackpot. I remember getting my wisdom teeth out, so I had a lot of spare time to work on this level. This was definitely my best design at the time. While it was pretty simple, I think it was overall better, not to mention the use of actually good colors. Multiple people told me the gameplay was bad, but looking at it now, I think the gameplay and sync is pretty good. This level still remains on the servers if you want to play it. Eighto. This was going to be a remake of Eighto by Etzer and Zobros using Etzer's remix of Eighto. Although the gameplay was just as annoying as the original, I think some of the design, although it was inspired by the original Eighto, was decent. I don't really know why I abandoned this level. I guess I just lost inspiration and I had no idea what to do with the sections I didn't touch.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
Attack. This level started off as one background, which was at the beginning, and then I thought that background was cool, so I continued the level with some more effects, and some of them look pretty good, but others I think are pretty cringe, but I ran out of ideas after the second part of the drop, and I abandoned the level.
Attack!
Vigor. This level was originally going to be much longer. I had a layout for the rest of the level, but I didn't like it once I built it, so I deleted all of it. For this level, I focused more on block design, and as a result, the air deco was pretty much non-existent. Unlike most of my other levels, this level shined most at the end of the level, where I added a cool brick background. Also, 2.1 came out when I was almost done building this, so I added some 2.1 elements in places that I didn't like, but those parts suffered because I had no idea what I was doing. This level still remains on the servers if you want to play it. Mental insanity. I started making this when I finally got a desk. Before that, I kneeled on my legs and used a coffee table. I tried to make something atmospheric, but it didn't work the way I wanted it to. Also, the first part looked very similar to TikTok by Triaxis, and I felt bad copying it, so I abandoned the level pretty quickly. Floating. I remember being so proud of this level, calling it my masterpiece. While I had good concepts and some good backgrounds, I paid no attention to detail, which has always been my weakness. This is pretty clear in the level, especially in the block design, where I didn't know how to make blocks rounded, making them look very awkward, and it doesn't really come off that way. Additionally, I didn't really think about how fun this level would be or gameplay at all, so it's pretty buggy and frustrating. This level still remains on the servers if you want to play it. Condense. Like floating, I tried to go for the modernistic style, but I think the biggest problem with this level was that it was really messy. There were a lot of objects on the screen at one time, and the colors really clashed together. Additionally, there were two parts that I've always thought looked ugly, and I feel like there were ways to avoid the ugliness. Overall, I think this is an improvement from floating. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Herolocked. I remember making this entirely during a trip to Hawaii because I had a lot of time in the car to play on my phone and I made this. While it does have its flaws, I'm kind of proud of this level. It has a variety of styles, some of which are pretty atmospheric. A lot of the inspiration was from Deadlocked V3, but also a bunch of other levels, mainly by Manic648. I'm still annoyed by how annoying and buggy the gameplay is. Gameplay was really something I slowly got worse at because I focused on it less and less. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Unnamed Megacollab. This was the third time I tried to make a Megacollab, this time with a different set of people since I moved schools. This time I was able to arrange it properly, and we at least attempted to have good communication. Although we were able to work on our parts at the same time, barely anyone made any progress and a few quit the game when arranging it. I think the reason why so many people were demotivated was because it took us forever to come up with a song choice, but this was just another failed Megacollab attempt. Fortunate, I tried to make a generic level, and I think for the most part I succeeded. While this level is pretty unoriginal, I think I paid the most attention to detail, and pretty much everything works smoothly. I spent a long time trying to make everything actually look good, and I think it shows. I'm still not a huge fan of the deco about 2/3 in, but that's just me. It's Raining Men. I remember being really proud of the gameplay when I first made it. I played it over and over, even though I knew it was pretty average. I tried to make the design alkali inspired, and I think I did a good job with the color combinations and most of the air deco, but for some reason I just dropped the level, maybe because I became sick of the level by playing it too much. Not really much else to say, it's just another unfinished level. Back on Club Rebirth. If you were subscribed to this channel at 2,000 subs, you may remember this level as I streamed some of the building. Remember Zobros' contest I talked about earlier on in this video? Well, one of my friends built a level called Back on Club, which was basically a club step remake with Back on Track as the music. I wanted to remake some sort of level, so I decided to remake Back on Club. This level is unfinished mainly because I thought it was a waste of time to remake a level with such poor gameplay. Still, while empty at times, this level still has some good design. It has a mix of styles, and I feel like I could have finished this if the gameplay wasn't so bad. Malevolence. I really liked overdecorated levels when I made this, and there was a lot of hype for Woodkid, so I decided to work on an overdecorated Jaker style level. I finished about 20 seconds of it before abandoning it, and looking back at it, I'm glad I did. It's a huge mess and you can barely tell what's going on. I guess I just appreciated the effort of overdecorated levels, but now I just see them as huge messes. I don't really want to continue this level, but if I did, I'd have to make some major adjustments so people can actually see what they're doing. Devolve. This was my response to Levolution, a trend started by Optical where creators tried to limit their object counts while still trying to make unique levels. However, while the trend was supposed to bring out unique levels, effects and Levolution levels seemed very similar, so I saw the trend as more of a negative addition to the community. Don't get me wrong, there's some great Levolution levels such as the Lost Existence, but most seem pretty similar to each other. This level is still on the servers if you want to play it. Want a collab? This was going to be an art level with a different meme each section. I finished the first part with Ugandan Chungus, but after that part I just realized how boring it is to take an image and then recreate it in Geometry Dash, and it doesn't require much thinking. As cool as a meme level would be, it would be torture to build. The last levels are some of my most recent levels, but in my opinion these levels made me get worse at creating, since my process was to look at other people's levels, take certain objects because they use frequently, and incorporate them into my levels, which were all for videos. Because they are already in videos, I'll cut to the next level while I'm done talking. Those videos will be in the description. So, this level is Recognition. This was my first video of me building a level. In this level, I tried to build a generic level to prove how easy it is. However, I think I put too many objects in each section, and generally, I was overthinking what to put in the level. Demonic Hell. This was my level for how to build an extreme demon. A lot of people in the comments talked about how great of a level this is, and how shocked they were to see an actually good level, but looking back at it, I couldn't disagree less. But at the end of the day, this whole level was a joke. Emoji Pop. This level, again, was a joke, although it had more effort put into it. One of the reasons why I ended the How to Build Like series was because it started off funny, but they turned into actual tutorials, which I don't think they do a very good job in teaching people, but I still like this level and How to Build Like Danceman. I think some of the color combinations didn't work too well, and I kinda wished I did Danceman's newer style instead of this older one, but I still think the design is decent. Fatal Momentum. This was my level for How to Build Like Lemons. I don't find this level too memorable. I like some of the color combinations, but for the most part, it's pretty forgettable. There isn't really much to say about this level, just a typical 2.1 design level. Moving on. Nothing. This was my level for How to Build Like Carmel. I feel like this and Bitcrusher were definitely less original than the last 3 How to Build Like levels, mainly because I felt the pressure to build exactly like the creator, so there isn't really anything original here. The gameplay is still similar to Carmel's, and I ended up verifying this on a 60Hz monitor, so that's an achievement. Bitcrusher, and this is the last level I made. This was my level for How to Build Like Laser Blitz. I think some sections look good, but don't look like Laser Blitz, and then there's some sections that just look underwhelming. I think this level shined most at the end with the shaggy boss fight and the complex block designs, but the duel is still super annoying to memorize. Still, this is probably my best level to this day. And that is all of my levels from 2016 to now. This is the longest video on the channel, which really says something. This game has really been a huge part of my life, even before I was discovered on YouTube. While I'm not the best creator out there, it's crazy to look back at my old levels in 2014 and realize I was consistently releasing trash levels at that time. My old levels also reflected my personality at the time. At first, I was egotistical and didn't care about what people thought about me. Then I realized I was being egotistical and that my levels were terrible, so I had a lot of unfinished projects. While I've been aiming at this since I started, I really want to get a feature in the future. Because exposure isn't really an excuse anymore, I feel entitled to make something good and something I'd enjoy creating, so I hope I'll be able to do that in the near future. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure to leave a like and a comment, subscribe if you're interested in my content, and as always, this is Flaaroni signing out.